Welcome to Basin, and I'm honored to have first-time guest of the show, Dez Ford. Welcome, Dez.
Hey, how's it going?
Really great having you on the show. You are incredibly experienced amateur MMA fighter. You're going to be taking on Chase let me get that right. Chase Boyde for 247 Fighting Championships Brawl in the Burgh 17, which is going to be July 15th. It's going to be advanced amateur, which is always a very exciting matchup, a bigger rule set. You're coming into your 13th fight. So you're very, very experienced. He's coming into his 9th fight. It's rare to get very experienced amateurs. What makes you excited about this fight? What are your thoughts about coming back to 247 to take on Chase?
It's a good promotion. I like what they're doing down there, especially for the veterans. As for my fight with Chase, it's going to be the usual classic grappler versus striker matchup type deal. I heard Chase has pretty good jiu-jitsu and he has like pretty decent foot lock submissions and all that jazz. So we're preparing for that as the camp like chugs along. But yeah, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, well, and that's why, that classic matchup, like you said, Des, between striker and grappler, it's classic for a reason because that's kind of what got MMA started, but it's continued to be an exciting part. And you're absolutely right. I got to watch Chase win by rear naked choke. He has had a lot of success, in the submission department. Now, you got into a banger the last time you fought for 247, and of course, striking bangers can go either way. What got you? What got you to be more of a kickboxer striker than a grappler? What's your background and kind of how'd you fall in love with the striking aspect versus, let's say, BJJ? Although I know every MMA fighter does everything. Just saying, as far as you being a self-described striker.
I started with Shotokan karate and Taekwondo as a child, and actually no, I did Taekwondo as a child, and then like between like 19 and 21, I was doing Shotokan karate, and then the old guys at Team Impact, Harry Stewart and Deb Stewart, who own that gym, invited me to their open house, and then that's when I met Joey Holt, who is a striker and boxer, and then along with his brother Kyle and Josh Stanford, who's a wrestler. So after that, I just like the striking aspect of it more. It puts on more of a show. It's more exciting, and it kind of plays into like what I started out with. I have very strong kicks, and anyone who's felt those will tell you about it.
Well, the fact that you have very strong kicks is obviously great for MMA, but also exciting because you've been an advanced amateur for a long time. So you're used to knowing the fact that you won't be wearing shin guards. For a lot of fans, advanced amateur fights, they're more exciting, they're longer, it's a bigger rule set. For a lot of fans, they look like pro fights because you don't have shin guards. So I always try to say on the pay-per-view that they're not pro fights because there's still some restrictions, but there's ground and pound, so it certainly looks like a more full rule set that's more typical of pro. For your kicks, you're not allowed head kicks. I'm assuming with your strong kicks, you would love head kicks. But for you, how successful has it been on the ground and pound? Like if you do get to the ground, have you had some success using the ground and pound rules to your advantage?
Actually, I have pretty good wrestling and jiu-jitsu and whatever. It's just hardly ever showcased in my fights because I want to stand up. My side control game is pretty strong, and on top of all that, like it's hard to hit me on the ground because I'm constantly moving. If I can get them into a scramble, I tire people out easily. And then when we're back up on our feet, I'm the one breathing correctly, and then the one breathing heavy because I took all that energy to get me down and just to fight and get back up. I could do that all day.
Well, that certainly makes this matchup with Chase very exciting because at 170 pounds, that's a great weight to height range. It's the weight category 170 that GSP and Matt Hughes really made super, super popular, and it still is, but that's kind of like the prototypical. So you're a great size. Chase is a great size. Really giving us a lot to look forward to this fight, because I would say, and Chase has been on the show before, I'm sure he'll be back, but when he talks about it, I'm sure he'll say that while he is a BJJ guy, that he's looking forward to striking with you. It sounds like this fight could go anywhere, where you can initiate ground, you can initiate jiu-jitsu, you can initiate, obviously, striking, because that's your forte. Let's talk about the fact that you made your amateur MMA debut pretty much exactly 10 years ago. Let me go back to see the exact date, but yeah, May of 2013. So this will be just past, since you're fighting July 15th, it'll be just past your 10th anniversary. So let's talk about kind of what it's been like to be an amateur fighter for 10 years. That's a very full. You have fought 12 times. So I guess, yeah, you've been averaging about 1.5, maybe 2 times a year or less. So you probably had some gaps in there with COVID. But what's it been like being an MMA fighter now for 10 full years?
It's been interesting. It's taught me a lot about myself. It's definitely humbling, and met a lot of great people, met a lot of great fighters. And I tell people all the time, most of the best men that I've ever known in my life has punched me in the face at some point. And and it's been a pretty cool community. Like, whether you're wanting to train, to get in shape, or for self-defense, or an actual fight, everyone's very supportive and welcoming, into this sport and all that jazz. And I've met like some pretty cool people. I've known the guys at Victory, where I train now. I used to cross train with them in the past, the last I want to say almost 8-9 years now. And it's just been a very cool community to be a part of, and I'm proud of and excited for still to see what is to come in this sport and being a fighter.
Yeah, and I think that's what obviously shows. You're super experienced. You developed a lot of great friends. You're still looking to add to your skill set, and you're taking on a tough and exciting fighter, and you're a tough and exciting fighter. So even though that fight didn't go the way you wanted last time for 247, you had 2 very entertaining rounds before the end. So I think it makes perfect sense that you're kind of building yourself back up. I'm very much looking forward to it. I know you're from Ohio. Are you expecting people to drive in for it, or should we do a shout out to the pay-per-view through 247fighting.com or the 247 Live app on their cell phone?
I may have a few people coming out, but I don't know yet. But like, it'd be good to shout out to pay-per-view and get people in there, get people introduced and get people watching. And 247 is a good promotion as well. Hunter and the other guys do a good job down there, so it'd be good to get them exposure, and myself as well.
Sure. Well, let's just throw that out there, since it's always kind of good to throw out that the pay-per-view is live, and obviously that's fun. But also, when they're picking or buying the pay-per-view, we always try to remind people to make sure that they're selecting their favorite fighters. You do that with in-person tickets. They can also do that with pay-per-view, so they can pick your name. That helps you, and it also gets them in, and they can decide between getting the pay-per-view for just that card to watch you, which is what most people do, or there's a really great option where they just buy the yearly subscription to 247 Live, which is an app that gives the full catalog of every 247 fight, where they can watch not just you, but also every fight that's ever happened for 247. So it's kind of a bigger package, but either way they do it, I hope they give you credit, and obviously it'll be exciting. That's one of the reasons why we love doing the pay-per-view, because the reach then starts to spread. That's something that we know all the way back to the UFC. It was really their pay-per-view and being able to spread through originally VHSs that brought more eyes. So it's always exciting. That's what gets me excited. The last event, Brawl in the Burgh 16, was completely sold out. No more space in the actual arena. And that kind of was really exciting, but it also allowed the pay-per-view to kind of be a bigger deal as well, since people couldn't actually get there. Who would you like to thank? Who's been in your corner, as far as literally or even just personally, even if they're not fighters, as far as being connected to you, because obviously you've been doing this for a long time?
Right. Just everyone who's been coming up with me. Yeah, all the fighters at Victory MMA and the guys at Team Beast Mode in Youngstown. Both coaches, Davis Horatio Jr. and Terry Blackwell and Drew Schottenheimer. You know, I have a lot of I have nothing but good things to say about those guys. Those guys have been there with me from the start, you know, and like my friends and family, you know. My few kids, you know, they've been like mascots of every gym they came in with me too. So I'm just thankful for all of those guys and pray for their health every day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Praise God for your family,
Yeah.
and for your kids. That's even bigger and more important than MMA, obviously. And it's great
Definitely.
that you're balancing that. This is a fun hobby, but you being a dad comes first. And a happy early Father's Day for you, since
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking now. So happy Father's Day to you. And in July, obviously, can't wait to see you again. For everybody out there, if you're listening to this in the Pittsburgh area, it's going to be at the Monroeville Convention Center. Buy tickets directly from a fighter or through the online 247fighting.com, where you can still give a fighter credit. Or if you're from Dez's hometown area, then make sure you're giving him credit on the pay-per-view. I appreciate you coming on so much for the show. Hopefully we can have you on again. Thanks so much to you. You've been listening to Luke Payson from MMA Fancast with Dez Ford, 247 Fighting Championship Brawl in the Burgh 17, July 15th. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
You got it. You take care.
Yep. Yep.